Okay guys, I am back today to do a part 2, kind of. A few weeks ago I did things I like in books, and today I want to talk about things I don't like in books. Once again, this list is kind of just random. I wrote the ideas down as they came, and I haven't sorted them into any order, but we're gonna just kind of talk a little bit about each of the things that I don't like in books, in hopes that between the other video and this video, you'll be able to help recommend books to me that I will like. I have gotten so many interesting sounding recommendations from my other video. My library holds are kind of like going through the roof right now, but hopefully this will maybe help narrow down a few. What I did in my other video was I shared something I like in books and then like 1 or 2 books that kind of fall under those categories, and I'm probably not going to do that for this one, because if I'm really not enjoying a book, I don't necessarily always finish it. I'm fine with like just DNFing books. So yeah, I may share some examples and I may not. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna talk about is something I mentioned in my last video that I realized I don't like is lawyer stories. It's just any books that follow lawyers seem to be, because I like mysteries and suspense books, but whenever they're following a lawyer, I really don't like it. I don't know if it's the technical jargon, I don't know if it's kind of like the attitude you have to have as a lawyer. I don't like it when we follow lawyers. So yeah, so those are just off the list. I don't like, okay, well this isn't always the case. See, this is the thing too. Not all of these are like all-inclusive. Sometimes there are books that have these things in them and I still like the book. But one of the things is I don't really like it when we are following kids at boarding school. Like, I like middle grade books, I like some young adult books, but if they're at boarding school, especially if there's like a mean girl situation going on and, you know, you just gotta like survive the year kind of thing, I hate that part. I can do the boarding school if it's done well, and it has been done well before, but like if there's just this mean girl situation going on, yeah, that's not my thing. Okay, and one thing you probably know if you've been here a while is insta-love. I really don't like it when characters just like see each other and instantly they're in love and need to get to know the other person. I prefer relationships that take longer to build and, you know, you need to get to know the person. That doesn't mean that if a book has insta-love, I'm not going to read it, because there's been times where I've been surprised. And I'm currently reading a book that appears to have insta-love in it, but I trust this author, and even if the insta-love is a thing, the other elements of the story are strong enough that they're pulling me through. Okay, and something that I have really realized is I do not like books that follow people through a lifetime, and I have some examples for this. A Gentleman in Moscow. I know like almost everyone loves that book. I hated it. I thought it was so boring. Like, this guy does nothing. He does not leave his hotel for well, not his entire life, but like for years. Did not like that one. Middlemarch, that's a classic that was terrible. It just followed a bunch of people through many years of their lives. One that I started and I quickly DNF'd is Out of Africa. That one also sounds like it does follow this person. I didn't enjoy the writing either, but as soon as I knew that it was also like following someone for many years of their life, I was like, well, I know this is probably not going to be for me. Oh, another one was Angela's Ashes. I read that book pretty much this time last year and I like DNF'd it, I think at 90% or something. I was just like, I'm so done with this. Another thing I don't like is books that are just about regular life and gossip. And I feel like that is what Jane Austen's books are. And I know so many people love Jane Austen books, and I don't know, some of them I've read, not liked, reread, enjoyed, reread again, and then not liked. So I don't know where I stand on Jane Austen, but like that whole time period, the fact that a lot of women just like sat around and gossiped and, you know, talked about how much money people made, and that reading about that doesn't interest me. Okay, and I know that I prefer characters over plot, so journey stories are often not my favorite thing. A book that came to mind for this was Eragon. I still want to finish that series. I only read book 1, and I have read journey stories that I've enjoyed before, but usually I've continued with them because the characters have been good enough. Like, the characters like outweighed the fact that they were journeying along, which is funny because I like journeys, but not when that's the purpose of the book. I prefer characters and character growth to be more of the purpose. And then one of my big struggles is books where like nothing happens and then everything happens at the end. So here I'm looking at Rebecca and Agatha Christie's Endless Night. Those two books, I was just like, ugh, just dragging, not enjoying them. And then like the last, I don't know, 10%, even Jane Austen's, which one was it? I'm totally blanking on the name. Here's the name. That book, everything just happened right at the end. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of those kind of books. Anytime characters refuse to communicate, like they totally could, but they want to keep secrets, or they're like just holding a grudge, or there's no forgiveness, that really bothers me. I want my characters to talk things out. I don't want like miscommunication to lead to more problems, to this, to that. Yeah, that just really irks me. Oh, also, like, I don't know if this is like a lost time trope. That's kind of like, you know, people were dating and then like, you know, 12 years later or something, they come across each other again, like that kind of thing. I don't like that. The resurrection trope. You know, if you kill off a character, but like, surprise, they weren't actually dead. No, like if you're gonna kill them off, just kill them off and just leave them there. I want to be able to trust my authors, and I feel like if you're going to bring someone back, then I never know if you're just gonna bring everyone back or what. Oh, and then this is kind of related, but, and I don't always hate this, but it's when the characters that were dead before the book started aren't actually dead. So this happens a lot in middle grade books, I find, where the parents are dead and this kid's an orphan, but then they actually find out, oh, they're actually alive. And sometimes that can work out okay. But for the most part, I feel like you can usually see it coming, or then, I don't know, it just feels like, was the whole book just a lie? Yeah, you know, I want my dead people to be dead and my alive people to be alive. Oh, a big one for me is just anything that's too predictable. If I can predict how the story's gonna go, how the relationship's gonna go, how the ending's gonna go, that's not my cup of tea. I like to be surprised, and I like twists in my books, which often means I can't even tell you what happens in books because the twists are what make a really good book to me often. But yeah, anything that has like surprising endings is great, which is also why I really like Shirley Jackson, because she can do a twist in like a 10-page short story. Anything with teenage drama, just like, I don't know, I feel like I lived through the teen years. I was a bit dramatic myself. I don't really want to read about it now as an adult. So I'm thinking Beartown. A major reason I DNF'd that book was because of teenage drama. And then Truly Devious is the first book in a YA mystery series. And I kind of quite liked the series, the idea behind the mystery, but the teenage drama just like brought it so far down. And yeah, if a book is just gonna have like so much teenage angst and problems, that's just not for me. Okay, and now I did talk about how much I like characters. If a character has no depth, no personality, even like no sense of humor, then I have a hard time reading about them. I like sense of humor. That's a bonus. It doesn't have to be there, but I feel like there needs to be some character growth, and our characters have to have some depth in order for me to really enjoy a book. Speaking of characters, if a book follows too many different characters, I struggle. So back in January, I started Way of Kings, and as soon as we got our little foster baby, I haven't picked it up since. And a big reason is because that one is following so many different characters, and it's also fantasy, so there's so many different elements that, you know, you don't know in real life. That I'm following so many characters, I don't know, I don't have the brain space to handle that right now. I can't really even do that on a normal day when I get more than 4.5 hours of sleep, but like these days it's just definitely not happening. I also, because I like twists, if we're following too many characters, then often there's no twist coming because you know the truth from each character, unless it's like an unreliable character or something like that. But yeah, I prefer to follow 1, 2 max for me to really enjoy it. And then there have been some authors that have had more points of view from the characters, and I've been able to enjoy those books, but for the most part I really like 1 or 2 characters. Okay, another thing that I really don't like is when it's just like a never-ending series that you can tell like the author is just in it for the money. I'm thinking about like series that feel like a soap drama kind of thing going on. I prefer, you know, either standalone, duology, a trilogy, like get your ideas out there and wrap them up, but don't just drag it on forever because you're getting more money. Yeah, But that's personal preference. I know a lot of people really enjoy series. I mean, obviously all this is personal preference. This is all about things I don't like in books. So it's all just about what I think. Oh, Into the Wilderness survival stories. That is not for me. I mean, if there's like a mystery element where someone has to like run into the woods for whatever reason to hide, that's fine. But I'm thinking like Hatchet. I really didn't like Hatchet. Robinson Crusoe, those kinds of things. Swiss Family Robinson, anything that has to do with just going in the wilderness and surviving and doing those kinds of things. No. Okay. A lot of people have recommended cozy mysteries to me, and from the few that I've read, I do not like cozy mysteries. And if they are like a food cozy mystery, I'm just like, I don't know. That's a whole genre I don't understand. But cozy mysteries are often too light and fluffy for me. I like the twist. I like things to be a little bit more realistic. Like, I can't even describe it. I don't even know what I like. But I don't like cozy mysteries. I like them to be not cozy, more suspenseful, and more twistful. Twistful? I'm making up new words now. Okay, and that was everything on my list, and I'm sure there are more things that, you know, I could put on here. I did kind of actually talk about in my other video how I like everyday people to be my characters instead, or like the main characters instead of, you know, people that are like super amazing and awesome. And so I guess something that I don't like in books is when a character is super amazing and awesome. There are some people, especially I find in the Christian fiction romantic suspense genre, like all the women are just beautiful, and they go on and on about their looks and how they can do all these different things. And yeah, no, let's have some real characters with some real flaws and then help them to grow but also still have flaws. Yeah, so from what I just shared today and in my last video, are there any books that you would either recommend for me or some that you think people might have recommended from my previous video that now, knowing what I don't like in books, you'd be like, stay away from these books? I would really like to hear that. So thanks again for watching, guys, and thanks in advance for your recommendations.